welcome to LexTalk World presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have Mr. Dipti LAVYA SWAIN, and Mr. SWAIN has 15 years of PQE with diverse work experience as a partner of a top-tier law firms as well as General Counsel at an MNC of a high competitive Indian corporate market, advising several international and domestic companies, industrial sector across the globe, including business setups and multiple corporate houses. He has also top positions like being managing partner in DLS Law Offices, General Counsel Partners at Luthra Luthra Law Offices, and now heading a corporate at Wadia Ghandy Company. So now, without further ado, let's dive in to know more about him. Hello, Mr. SWAIN. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ayushi. Thanks so much to you and Clickaway for having me here.
Mr. SWAIN, it's a pleasure to be a part with you and join you on this platform. So for you, my first question is, for clients entering into a phase of deal making and corporate M&As transactions, what would you advise them?
See, I think, deal making is quite a specialized subject. And of course, these days with large corporates as well as startups involved in deal making and transactions like investments and exits, it is very important that clients or corporates and investors understand the importance of term sheets. Many times I have seen that there are term sheets which are executed by the investors or the targets like the corporates who come ahead and try to engage with lawyers post that. And in all these times, I tell them that engaging with a lawyer and taking their advice right at the term sheet level is very, very important, because many times what you may have done in the term sheet gets difficult to undo and vice versa. So term sheet, I think, is a very important aspect of deal making. Apart from, of course, the strategy and the structure, the nature of instruments that should be taken by the investors, or if you are the company seeking an investment, then the nature of the instrument that you should give to the investor, the due diligence process, which is also very, very important. And of course, then comes the documentation, which involves a lot of drafting and incorporating the discoveries from the due diligence, and of course the negotiations which help you finalize these contracts. These contracts are very, very important, and while obviously in happy times people tend to ignore these documents, but it is very important that when we are at a position where there are smaller or bigger or larger disagreements amongst the two parties, it is then that these documents come into the rescue of either of the sides. And therefore, I strongly recommend that engaging in discussions with lawyers right from a term sheet level through the due diligence, drafting of the documents, negotiation, and the closing process is very, very important.
It is very, very well said. So as a business leader and investor yourself, how do you see the investment world plan out with the ongoing pandemic and post that?
Right. Okay. So, good question. There are a few factors and impediments that we saw. COVID did do a lot of damage, and just about when the investor community and the targets were elated and back to business, we are now seeing Omicron and perhaps more mutations down the line. But let me tell you that a lot of companies or startups, and various other sectors in the industry, stopped making investments because of the threat and outcome of COVID-19. but there were a lot of businesses that flourished during this time also. I will also want to mention that, pursuant to a lot of good, healthy, and innovative thinking of promoters and founders, they did try and bring about newer solutions for the industry and for their target market. And this has helped them, create newer and niche areas for themselves, which never existed earlier. So apart from the regular businesses, people have started to catch up to newer businesses, which is a very plus point. People have really started to depend on online mechanisms, saving a lot of time and energy for all of us. Of course, lowering the footprints, carbon footprints, because we are all traveling lesser. Nobody can really take away the impact that a physical meeting or a face-to-face meeting can bring into them. But obviously there is a lot more that we can do. For example, if I have to travel to, say, Dubai or New York for a meeting before COVID, there was a lot of planning that I had to do. But now, in just the same day, I am present in Delhi, Bombay, Dubai, New York, London, thanks to online mechanisms. And I think COVID pandemic helped us do that. So there are a lot of positives and negatives, but I think soon after the pandemic, we saw a little bit of end of that, but there is Omicron, as I mentioned right now. But even with Omicron and after that, I think there will be a lot of progress that will be made. I was reading a newspaper report today, which was talking about India's and world's growth post-pandemic. I personally believe that there are huge takeaways from this. There is going to be a huge shift of the way we were doing business, and it is all in the positive stride.
Exactly. The pandemic has affected the business as well. But on the same page, I would like to know, the pandemic saw some courts are being moving towards the remote processing inevitabilities, right? In this situation, and a positive way to increase access to justice. What's your opinion on this?
So yes, you're right. I must admit that Indian courts have always liked the physical arguments, physical submissions of paperwork, etc. And that saw a huge positive shift during COVID, when hearings happened, online, submissions were happening online, and judges and lawyers, both of them were getting used to this mechanism. But obviously there are a few challenges in that mechanism. For example, an urgent mention and hearing, etc. Got disturbed. Different methods were adopted. But I think going forward, yes, we will have to come back to the physical mode. But I think this a mixture of both will be really helpful, and I think litigants will gain the most. I think the idea of having courts and lawyers is about reducing and helping litigants, and I think this mechanism will really help all of us going forward.
Right. Very well said, and you've put your opinion very nicely, I would say. So your journey so far was like wonderful. So what are the complex issues you have worked on, or some complexity that was there in your legal professional? So how you approached it?
So yes, the journey since the last 15, 16 years, or actually more than a decade, when I started with law school, back in 2001. It has been quite enriching. I love to always mention that I continue to learn on the way, and I still do that right now. As a lawyer, we must always keep on reading and learning. So that's become brilliant. Complex issues and challenges. I think adapting to the way business and business advocacy used to happen. I think that is something which is very critical. We all have to adapt the way or adapt to the manner in which businesses are being done. Earlier we saw a lot of investments happening only by large PE funds into larger corporations, and then now we see a lot of venture capitals investing into startups, a lot of startups becoming unicorns. So we have to keep adapting ourselves to how business is being done. So that is one challenge that we all face. But I think it's good to know that lawyers across the country, including myself, we've all been trying to adapt ourselves through that. About specific issues, obviously I love to provide business solutions to my clients. I think that is very critical. Trying to figure out solutions to difficult problems, apart from simply creating a problem or highlighting a problem, is something that I love doing. And identifying specific key issues into a transaction which perhaps was overseen or avoided or not thought of is something that I really relish doing. Structuring for transactions, that's another aspect that I love doing, because there are a lot of innovative mechanisms that can be adopted by investors as well as target companies, both of them, to be able to go positive with themselves. So that is one of the key areas that I love to work on as a corporate PMA lawyer.
Okay. That's wonderful. So in this era of legal technology, so what is your commonly used tool like?
See, of course, like for all of us, internet has been key. I remember when I started off as a lawyer, we used to have internet just on one computer, and apart from that, our desktops used to just have Outlook and nothing else. Outlook is what had just email, and we used to have to go to just one computer to be able to do our research, and we used to rely a lot on physical books. All of that has changed right now. Of course, there used to be mobile phones only with some of the senior lawyers, and then BlackBerry 10 was one of the key. But I think today technology, especially internet, has really helped us lawyers, including me and my team members. What used to take a lot of time to research and finalize an issue takes much lesser time, thanks to reliance on internet. A lot of my junior lawyers are much faster than what we used to be, and I think a lot of credit goes to internet. So I will count that as one. Of course, in terms of tools, our availability of a lot of legal research and a lot of websites, data available on the internet, a few critical subscriptions, they have also helped. And lastly, I will definitely want to give a lot of credit to mobile phones, the 4G and upcoming 5G networks. They have also really helped us lawyers, like for everybody else as well. But of course, I'm talking about lawyers and the legal industry. These are some of the key technology tools that I would like to comment on.
That's nice. That's very well said, that technology have really reduced the time, and you can manage the time more better with the help of internet and everything. So of course, time is money. That is meant for every professional, isn't it? So I would like to ask you, how do you ensure your best time as a lawyer? What is your time management mantra?
I think something that I keep telling my colleagues and especially my juniors is instead of thinking a lot about what to do and how to do, I think the key is to attack the problem, and the moment you do that, trust me, 50% of the job is done. And so, for example, somebody has to, draft a document, an agreement, a pleading, etc. I always recommend them to start penning down something or the other on a piece of paper or on the computer. And once you do that, it becomes very easy for you to proceed forward. And that will really help in time management. The second, I think, is the way you look at your work. If you think a lot, that's obviously good for a lawyer, but I think it is equally important to quickly implement. And by that I mean that if there are smaller things, I think that must be done instantly, and that will really help handle a lot of smaller work. Of course, it is difficult for lawyers to prioritize, but it's still there are a few ways that you can adopt to prioritize some work over the other. So I strongly recommend that instead of putting something away for a later time, a lawyer should catch up on some emails and calls the moment they come, because that gets their job done easily. These are two key factors which help in time management, is what I would say.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing such a great insights with us. And it was lovely chatting with you. And we will be looking forward for some chats with some new international topics. And for all our viewers, if you like this chat with Mr. Swan, like our page, share this video, and subscribe to Clickaway Creators. And we'll be coming up with more lawyers and more law firms for you. This is Ayushi from LexTalk World.